Welcome back. Satisfied with this explanation, Don Quixote hesitates about how to proceed. On the one hand, he wants to go see Dulcinea. On the other hand, he is drawn on by the pledge I have sworn and by the glory I am certain to achieve in this enterprise to liberate the kingdom of Micomicon. He resolves to perform the latter as quickly as possible. I intend to go quickly to where this giant is, and upon arriving, I will cut off his head and restore the princess peacefully to her domain, and then I will return straight away to see that light which illuminates my senses. We have reached the zenith of Don Quixote's chivalric fantasy. Let's consider 2 points. First, commercial language looms everywhere in terms like empresa, or enterprise, negocio, or business, and adaala, or bonus. Second, Sancho's slaver fantasy is still very much in play. The squire insists that his master marry Princess Micomicona because he wants to rule a kingdom larger than Portugal and Castile combined, referring precisely to the dynastic annexation that involves Spain in the transatlantic commerce of black Africans. When Don Quixote says that even if he cannot marry the princess, the squire will still receive some part of the kingdom, Sancho insists that the part chosen should be along the coast, because if I'm not happy residing there, I can ship off my black vassals and do with them as I have already said. After resolving Don Quixote's plan, Cervantes offers us a brief disquisition on platonic or courtly love. Don Quixote explains to his squire that knights serve their ladies without expecting any reward for their many and good wishes other than that she should be content to accept them as her knights. Sancho then gives a humanistic and theological twist to this idea. That's the manner of love, I've heard it preached, with which we should love our Lord for himself alone and without any expectations of glory. Don Quixote is stunned. It's as if you've actually studied. At this point, the barber interrupts them and Sancho is relieved because, according to the narrator, even though he knew that Dulcinea was a peasant woman from El Toboso, he had never laid eyes on her in all his life. But wait, didn't Sancho describe her in detail in chapter 25? Is Sancho lying? Does his memory fail him? Or is the narrator somehow out to get him? Now a very complicated novelistic wrinkle unfolds before us. A boy appears. He is walking. It turns out to be Andres from chapter 4. And so we are obliged to reconsider both the shepherd boy's salary and his whipping by the wealthy farmer Aldudo. The incredible narrative dexterity of Cervantes is on full display here. Remember, his craft foregrounds perspectivism. First, Cervantes allows Don Quixote to narrate his own version of the episode in chapter 4. Of course, the Mad Hidalgo emphasizes how important it is that there be knights errant in the world. Don Quixote even gives us a vision of Andres tied to the oak tree and naked from the waist up. Recall the odd description Sancho gave us of his master a while back. Don Quixote glorifies himself more. As soon as I saw him, I asked him the cause of such a horrific beating. The savage replied that he was flogging him because he was his servant, and because certain of his oversights owed more to his being a thief than a simpleton. In response to which this child said, "My lord, he whips me for no other reason than that I have asked him for my salary." Apparently, Don Quixote resolved everything. I made him untie him, and I took the rogue's oath that he would take him with him and pay him real by real, and perfumed even. If you remember, that's not exactly what happened, because Don Quixote excused Aldudo from paying the perfume or the interest. Of course, it's much worse. Andres now disillusions Don Quixote completely regarding his knightly feat. The business turned out very much the opposite of what your worship imagines. The poor boy was left skinned like Saint Bartholomew. The novel's second allusion to the skinned apostle is more complicated than the first, because this time we cannot separate the matter of Andrés' abused skin from those of the vassals of Sancho, the fantastic governor and slaver of Micomicon. Note that Don Quixote's reaction is to prepare to go find El Dudo and fulfill his original oath. You will remember, Andrés, that I swore that if he did not pay you, I would have to go find him, and that I would find him, even if he were to hide himself in the belly of a whale. This allusion to Jonah, in conjunction with the issues of race and Christian charity, suggests the same kind of moral judgment at work in the famous portrait of Philip II by El Greco. There we have another Christian knight about to find himself in the belly of a whale because he cannot see that the skin color of his fellow man does not justify his victimization. Let's finish chapter 31. Dorotea convinces Don Quixote that he must attend to the business of Micomicon before turning to another campaign. Andrés says he's going to Seville, and curiously, it's Sancho who manifests charity toward the boy, offering him a piece of bread and another of cheese, and confessing that something of your misfortune touches us all. Andrés asks him scornfully, "What part touches you?" At which point, Sancho reminds us that he too has suffered the blows of a master. The squires of knight-errants are subject to much hunger and misfortune, and even other things which are better left felt than spoken. With this, Andrés leaves, but not before begging Don Quixote, for the love of God, to never involve himself in the affairs of others, and then cursing all the knights-errant ever born into this world. Brutal, Don Quixote was convinced that he had done a great deed. And now the narrator makes quite clear that our hero is ashamed. Don Quixote was utterly mortified by Andrés' story.